If you're serious about getting the most out of your driver, you've probably looked at sliding weights, adjustable hosels, all of
The
it.
tech, yeah.
But today, we are tearing into the one fitting variable that is, I think, the most influential, but also the most misunderstood.
And yet it's the simplest to adjust. We're talking about the total weight of the golf club.
Right.
Total weight is kind of the ghost in the machine. It's a massive area of confusion because when golfers want to lower spin, what are they told?
Move the weight forward. Crank the loft down.
Exactly. And look, those are valid adjustments, but they completely miss the biggest lever you have to fundamentally change how you perform.
We're going past that surface level thinking today.
Yeah.
The big idea we're tackling is this misconception that weight directly controls spin. You think, okay, heavy weight in the front, that equals lower spin. That's what the label says. But you're missing the entire point of what's happening between the club and your body.
Our whole mission here is to show you the powerful indirect influence of total driver weight. We have to get this idea across. The mass of the club doesn't just adjust the ball flight.
It adjusts the person.
It adjusts the person holding the club.
Okay, so let's unpack this with our core thesis right up front. Spin is not directly manipulated by weight.
Not at all.
Instead, weight alters the way you, the player, move, the way you sequence the swing. And that change in your movement is what actually controls the ball.
So if you only remember one thing from this deep dive, it's this.
Weight doesn't change spin, it changes you.
That's it.
So if total weight is really this powerful movement modifier, as you call it, let's quickly define what we're actually trying to manipulate. What are those 5 true impact variables that decide where the ball goes?
This is the absolute foundation. I mean, everything that happens to the ball launch, spin, curve, it's all governed by 5 things at the moment of impact. That's it.
Okay.
First is dynamic loft. That's the actual loft you deliver, not what's stamped on the club.
Right, not the 9.5.
Second, club face angle. Third is club head speed, obviously.
Yeah.
Fourth, impact location on the face, very important.
Okay.
And fifth, your attack angle. So whether the club is traveling up or down at impact.
Those 5 things, that's all that matters. So when we talk about total weight, we're really framing it as this hidden lever to improve, what, 3 of those 5 things?
Exactly. Dynamic loft, impact location, and attack angle. We're using weight to improve all of those without you even thinking about it.
We're forcing a swing correction without a swing thought.
We're basically tricking the golfer into moving better just by giving them a slightly different tool.
That brings us to maybe the biggest hurdle in fitting, which is that simple but really flawed assumption that lighter equals faster equals better.
Oh, yeah. Every golfer walks in thinking they need the absolute lightest setup to max out their speed.
They're not totally wrong, are they?
Oh, well, no, not on the surface. Lighter drivers do produce higher swing speeds, especially for athletic players. The problem is what happens next.
The instability.
The instability. When a club gets too light for your specific sequence, that speed gain is almost immediately wiped out.
Instability how, though? What's happening to the contact?
The club feels, weightless. It's hard to keep the path square or the face stable. So maybe your speed jumps 3 or 4 miles per hour, but your control just vanishes.
And the result is high spin.
Huge spin. Because you end up hitting it low on the face, which is a classic sign of bad timing, or you add a ton of dynamic loft trying to catch up to the club head.
That's the ultimate inefficiency. You gained speed, but you wasted it all by generating like 4,000 RPM of spin and ballooning shot into the wind.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the counterintuitive fix.
Yeah.
The heavy driver. When we suggest adding mass, people hear, I'm going to lose distance.
Yeah.
How do you get past that?
We tell them to ignore the scale for a minute and just look at the efficiency numbers. Yes, a heavier driver might reduce your max speed a little, maybe 1 to 2 miles per hour. That's the toll. But here's the trade-off, and this is where it gets really interesting. That tiny speed loss is almost always eclipsed by the gains from better sequencing.
So better rhythm.
Better rhythm, cleaner contact, and crucially a shift in impact location up the face toward the center. The weight forces the sequence to be correct, and that stability kills the spin.
So the real aha moment for the listener is that faster is only better if contact is stable.
That's it.
You might lose 1.5 miles per hour in speed, but that heavier setup could gain you 15, 20 yards of roll just by dropping your spin from 3,500 down to 2,500.
You're optimizing the launch engine, not just the top speed. It's the difference between a dragster and a Formula One car. One's fast in a straight line, the other is fast and stable everywhere.
That brings us right to the role that total weight plays in release mechanics. I mean, the timing of when your hands unload the club.
It dictates the entire delivery. Let's look at the lightweight side first. When a driver is too light, it encourages an early release.
You feel like you have to throw it.
You do. There's so little resistance, your hands and wrists feel like they have to just fling the club early to generate any feeling of speed.
And if you've ever felt like you're casting from the top, this is exactly what's happening.
Precisely. That early release flattens your swing arc and, critically, it adds a ton of dynamic loft at impact. You effectively turn your 10-degree driver into a 14-degree driver.
In consequences.
Massive spin, a weak, ballooning shot, and you have no directional control because your hands are just trying to steer a ship they lost control of half a second ago.
Okay, so contrast that with a slightly heavier driver. It gives you that resistance.
Yes, the mass is the boss. A slightly heavier driver naturally delays the release. The inertia encourages your hands to stay passive for longer.
So it forces the big muscles to do the work.
It forces the core, the hips, the rotation to work through impact before the hands finally unload. It's better sequencing by compulsion.
And that better sequence gives you that pro-like delivery.
A lower dynamic loft, a squarer face, less spin, and way more control.
So we can actually chain that together for the listener pretty easily.
It's a simple chain. Weight affects timing.
Timing controls your face and loft.
And face and loft control spin. It's a beautiful sequence that gets lost when you only chase raw speed.
You can't talk about weight without zeroing in on impact location. And I think this is probably the most underestimated consequence of all of this.
It is the brutal reality check. We mentioned a light club causes dispersion, but let's talk about why hitting it low or on the heel is so bad for you.
So for the golfer who feels like their club is too light, they struggle with consistency. Why does that pull the strike low?
Because the light club is so easy to manipulate with your small muscles, it's easy to move fast, but it's really hard to control precisely where the center of mass ends up.
So the strikes just migrate low and toward the heel.
Yep. And both of those spots are major spin accelerators.
Let's break down the physics there for a second. The vertical gear effect, for anyone who might not know that term.
So, gear effect is just what happens when you hit the ball away from the center of gravity. If you strike the ball low on the face, the club head wants to rotate up, which makes the ball rotate down, and that adds a ton of backspin.
Okay.
Conversely, if you strike it high on the face, the club head rotates down and the ball launches with less backspin, so a low strike plus that added loft from the early release.
You've created a spin monster.
A spin monster.
That makes perfect sense. So the heavier club, by stabilizing everything, must stabilize that strike point, pulling it up.
Absolutely. The inertia promotes a more consistent swing arc, which leads to strikes that are centered, or even better, slightly above the center.
And that high strike, because of the gear effect, naturally kills spin.
It's free yardage. You're just getting it by improving your strike location.
And to highlight how sensitive this is, the data shows that just a 1 centimeter shift from the center down 1 centimeter can change your spin by 300 to 500 RPM.
It's incredible. You could hit the ball at the exact same speed and be 20 yards shorter just because of that tiny shift. That's the power of impact location.
Okay, now let's connect all this movement modification to the big one, attack angle, AOA. How does too little weight lead to a flat or even a negative attack angle?
This is where we get into biomechanics, how you use the ground. When a club is too light, the player feels like they can accelerate their arms and hands way too early.
So the arms are leading the parade.
The club literally outruns the body. And when the arms accelerate that early, the body tends to stall out. It stops rotating.
And this prevents you from using the ground properly. You talk about ground reaction force or GRF.
That's right.
So GRF.
Yeah.
That's just how hard you push off the ground.
Essentially, yeah. Think about jumping. To jump high, you load down and then push up forcefully. In golf, that upward push helps you keep your chest behind the ball and shallow out the club.
So too little weight means too little GRF.
Exactly. Your shoulders lurch forward, you lose that upward force, and the club comes in flat or even descending.
So lightness breaks the kinetic chain. The arms go too soon. What happens when we add the mass back?
The mass demands respect. That extra weight forces you to use your bigger muscles. You have to push harder into the ground better, GRF, just to move the club.
The resistance makes the body weight.
It makes the body weight, load properly, and rotate fully. This entire pattern naturally encourages a positive upward attack angle, that optimal +2 to +5 degree range.
So here's the synthesis then. We're not using weight to change spin, we're using weight to change the player's biomechanics.
Correct. The weight forces better ground use and a better sequence, and that is the real spin reduction mechanism. It's a powerful coaching tool disguised as a piece of equipment.
So let's make this practical. What does this all mean for the person tuning their driver? We need some concrete guidelines.
Let's start with adding weight. This is usually the fix for the high spin, inconsistent player. We're talking about adding maybe 10 to 20 grams.
And how do you know you need to go heavier? What are the warning signs?
Well, if you consistently struggle with high spin, if your launch monitor shows your impact is always low on the face, if you see those early release patterns, or if your attack angle is flat or negative,
See those red flags? Add weight.
it's the first, fastest, and most impactful fix. You should see a later release, a higher impact point, and a spin drop of 200 to 500 RPM almost immediately.
Okay, conversely, when do we lighten the load? Maybe take off 5 or 10 grams.
This is for the player with good mechanics who just struggles with raw speed. If your spin is already super low, your launch is too flat, or if your contact is clean but the swing just feels sluggish.
Okay.
In that case, you might gain that crucial 1 to 2 miles per hour, and you can accept a small spin increase, maybe 150 to 300 RPM.
This brings up a really important point on prioritization.
Here.
When should you just put the lead tape away and work on your swing?
Weight is fine-tuning. It's not crisis management. If your spin is off by more than, say, 800 RPM,
You're hitting it at 4,500.
yeah, or if your impact is all over the face, heel, toe, everywhere, or your attack angle is just structurally deeply negative, you have to fix those mechanical issues first. Weight cannot mask a fundamental breakdown.
Fix the engine first, then fine-tune with the fuel. Got it.
Exactly.
We want to leave you with something you can do right now, a simple range test. We call it the 2-ball fitting trick.
It's designed to give you instant, undeniable feedback on how your body responds to mass.
Okay, step 1. Hit one drive with your current setup, get your baseline, speed, launch, spin, and just as important, the feel.
Step 2. Add about 12 grams of lead tape around the shaft, right under the grip. This is a big increase designed to dramatically change the feel.
Step 3. Hit another ball. Don't think about it, just swing.
Now compare. If your spin drops, launch stays steady, and contact improves. There's your answer. Your current driver is too light.
And what if contact gets worse or the launch drops?
Then your current weight is probably right where it needs to be, or maybe even a little heavy. But the most revealing result is the one we talked about earlier.
Speed goes up, but spin skyrockets.
If your speed increases but your spin goes through the roof, that is the clearest sign your driver is too light. You're outrunning the club, casting it, and you need to add 8 to 12 grams immediately to stabilize your sequence.
That is fantastic practical advice.
So let's synthesize this for you. Lighter drivers unlock speed, but they can cost you control and efficiency.
Heavier drivers stabilize your motion, and they improve your ability to strike the ball optimally.
And remember, spin is almost always a result of poor impact and timing, not poor specs.
Which brings us all the way back to our core message today. This isn't about adjusting a dial on a club. It's about adjusting the resistance the club offers your body.
That total mass is the communication tool between the equipment and you. It forces you into better biomechanics.
Because changing loft changes the launch monitor. Changing weight changes the player.
And changing the player changes the shot.